video is sponsored by UGREEN.
I'm here in Madeira this week with the delightful Lumix GX80/GX85. It's such a popular camera. It's taken me quite a while to get back to reviewing it because I bought it originally in 2017 and I had to sell it to sort of fund some bits and bobs. But I firmly believe that this camera was the one that turned me into a camera hoarder, because I'm afraid to sell everything ever since because I regretted it so much. In this video, I'm going to show you what it can do, why it's so popular, and why I wish Lumix would blooming make a new one. Now, at the risk of sounding like a YouTuber cliche, I think the GX80 is almost perfect. And in terms of what I look for in my everyday carry checklist, it ticks almost every box. So first and foremost, and perhaps most importantly for a lot of people, it's very small and it has an EVF. To set your expectations, it's not the best EVF that I've ever used, but mist and rain aside right now, in Madeira on most of the days, it's been really, really sunny, and having that EVF has been worth its weight in gold. I also think that it is nice and small, but it also has a really nice grip. I think other cameras like the Lumix S9, for example, or even super small ones like the Lumix GM5, they are very small, but you don't have that grip to keep it nice and sturdy in your hand. This GX80 is wonderful for everyday use and for street photography and travel in particular, because it has a very positive thing that I always look for, and that's you can use it all one-handed. You have front and back dials, and the power is on the right. So if you combine that with a comfortable grip and a nice prime lens, I'm using the 20mm this week, I think you can get, take a photo, put it down really, really seamlessly without it taking up too much of your time. Now, you wouldn't think this camera is almost 10 years old. It has a touchscreen. It has very easy to understand menus. It has a very, very nice tiltable screen. There are so many great things about this camera, and it's not a terrible price. I do lament selling it originally because it's still about the same price as I bought it new nearly 10 years ago, but such is the used market. But I think if you are looking for an everyday carry that feels really nice in the hand but is still compact, this is an absolutely brilliant option. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. It has blooming IBIS as well, so you can get longer exposures. I got a couple at the waterfall at the bottom of this chasm that you can't see anymore because of the mist. There is a waterfall, and I got some long exposures. And yeah, having IBIS on a smaller camera is so, so good. So while I was away in Madeira filming this video, I was also editing some other video projects while I was there. One thing that gives me so much peace of mind when I have to do this is having my UGREEN NAS storage set up at home. NAS storage, if you don't know, is network attached storage, so you can access it from anywhere in the world on any of your devices as well. Now, in all honesty, I've been super intimidated upgrading to NAS storage for many years. I notoriously joke about it. It's like how bad my storage solutions have been in the past. And the main reason that I was reluctant to upgrade is because I was just intimidated. It all sounded very stressful, very techy, and it sounded very time consuming. But with this UGREEN NAS, it could not be easier. Like literally to set it up, you just tap your phone to it and then it finds the app for you. It has a photo app built in which you can use to search all of your footage and your archive. And the one I have is 4 bay, and that can hold up to 120 terabytes of storage, which will even keep me occupied for quite a while. So if you are someone who needs to sort out their digital life, maybe this is your sign. UGREEN have offers on at the moment and can get up to 20% off some of their products. I have links to their Amazon store and their official store in the description. It's awesome, check it out, and let's get back to the nerdiness. So the GX80/85 is small enough that I've been carrying it around on this little camera strap, which I love. I'll link in the description. Hashtag not sponsored, it's just lovely. I think there are larger options available like the Pen F or the Lumix GX8 or the GX9. And there's smaller options too, like the GX7 or the really, really smaller options like the GM1 or the GM5. But I think the GX80 has such a good little sweet spot between performance and size. So when I say that this camera is almost perfect, what am I referring referring to. There's a few things that I wish were different, and my goodness do I wish that there was a newer one in 2025. One of the things to bear in mind is this does have the slightly older, or more than slightly older, 16 megapixel micro four thirds sensor. However, in practice, I mean, you've got a little bit of wiggle room for cropping in. The dynamic range seems to be quite nice. I've took some low light photos, but it's not like the end of the world to only have the 16 megapixel. But yeah, it's one of the first things in this camera range that I just wish was a little bit more updated. So why did I sell this camera in the first place? Well, back in the day when I was, trying to find a portable solution for my YouTube channel, I really valued cameras that had mic inputs for video. So the GX80 has 4K video. It's pretty decent. You've got IBIS built in. I've got some really nice clips out and about in Madeira this week, but it doesn't have a mic input. So for vlogging, it's not the one. And now, of course, if I could go back in time and tell previous Emily, like, you don't really want a vlogging camera with contrast-based autofocus to begin with, and you're much better controlling the camera behind the camera if you're shooting video with a lot of micro four thirds cameras that are older, I may have never sold it, and that would have probably been the better outcome. So, video. You have a 1.1 times crop in 4K, which is perfectly manageable and a lot better than others on the system. And you do have IBIS, so video, good. You can even hack it to have the Cinelike D profile, which I did with my original version. However, because this beautiful camera is going to be the next first place prize in my final photo contest of the year, I didn't want to hack it because I'm actually going to give it to someone. But yeah, you can put Cinelike D on it if you like. If not, you can use the custom profile. What I've shot all this video in is just I've rolled down the contrast, rolled down the sharpness, and rolled down the saturation a little bit just to give me a little bit more wiggle room in the edit. But honestly, the natural profile out of camera, as with most Lumix cameras, is really nice. So I would say it's definitely photo-centric, but if you do want to shoot little video clips with it, you absolutely can. One thing that is both a pro and a con, depending on which side you're coming at it from, is this camera is very well built, which means while it is small, it is a little bit heavier than you imagine. Every time I pick this up, I think, oh, it's quite sturdy. It's not like a GM1 where it feels like nothing in your hand. So very well built, but also a little bit chunky. I'll put the weight on screen comparative to other cameras just to give you an idea. But in terms of design, I have to say, mad colour aside, it is available in black as well. I think it's such a gorgeous, timeless looking camera. I think if Lumix brought out an updated version with a very similar or identical body, I would be very happy indeed. It certainly doesn't look like nearly a 10-year-old camera now. I think it has a very good style to it. Another negative, but in the manageable category, I suppose, is the battery life on this camera compared to other cameras of its size is pretty bad. It's very easily fixed just by buying some batteries. You can get them third party still very easily. But yeah, I think definitely I'm going through at least one battery a day with this camera just with general shooting. And one really nice to have that we've been spoiled in recent months from OM's system is weather sealing. Definitely not weather sealed. Time to put it away. This camera is not weather sealed, and Madeira is a perfect example of like when I could have loved to have seen it weather sealed, because as sunny as it's been and as sunny as it is now, sometimes the mist rolls in, sometimes it gets drizzly. So having the ability to keep shooting through these conditions would have been lovely. If you want to go for a weather sealed everyday carry, in slightly older cameras, you're looking at the Lumix GX8. That's the only one that I can think of that's like rangefinder style from Lumix that's weather sealed. And then on the Olympus side, you've got all of the EM5 range, as well as the newer OM5, OM5 Mark II, and OM3. I think there's been a lot of conversation in recent months and years about what makes a Micro Four Thirds camera so great. Because a lot of the newer cameras are bigger and maybe more specialized, maybe geared towards wildlife or a hybrid sort of setup. But I think for me personally, it's cameras exactly like this that makes Micro Four Thirds so special. Something that you can lob about on a camera strap. Something that you can take on holiday and get really nice photos with without any inconvenience. The best of Micro Four Thirds for me is affordable small, and feature rich. And I think this camera ticks all of those boxes brilliantly. So I had a little trip down memory lane using this camera again. I had it in 2017 and 2018, and it was this camera, I think, that really made me fall in love with travel and street photography in particular. I think the form factor just really leans towards that. It's so good for that use case. And I went to Malta and I got some really good photos, if I do say so myself. Hopefully I can find the raw files, because the way that I edited back then was a little bit too stylized, shall we say. It just goes to show that if you're out and about and trying new things, it doesn't necessarily matter if you have a £1,000 camera or a £3,000 camera or a £300 camera. Getting out there and using it and having a piece of technology that resonates with you, that's easy to take out, is worth its weight in gold, in my opinion. I love that there's a touchscreen. I'm just going to say, I don't think I've said so far in this video, but being able to use a single point autofocus as you're working is so good. Anyway, back to the B-roll. So is the Lumix GX80 worth it now? So many years later? I would say, depending on the price, yes, 100 times yes. I think regardless of, you know, the technology rat race that we're in, a good camera is a good camera no matter how old it is, and you can get amazing photographs with this camera now. That being said, do I wish there was a new one? Absolutely. But in the meantime, if you're looking for a bargain and an everyday carry, you cannot go wrong with this camera.